The debut of Amazon Prime Boxing takes a hit. That and more on the Zapata Brand Boxing Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Zapata Brand Boxing Podcast for today's news, sponsored by ringside.com. If you go to ringside/podcast, you too can get 40% off selected items by putting in the promo code SAVE40. Well, just as you thought, the boxing Amazon debut could get any crazier. Just found out last night, Keith Thurman out. Bicep injury, pulls out of the fight against Tszyu, and they search for replacement, and they got Sebastian Fundora, who is also fighting on the card. Some people might say, well, Sebastian is now going to be overwhelmed, but he was training to fight. Now he's into a match where they're going to be unifying the WBC and the WBO 154-pound championships. It's good for Fundora. It's a better fight in general for Amazon. That is my opinion. I think it is, because and this goes back to Keith Thurman. He was out for so long. Keith Thurman was out for the better part of 3 years. At that age, you can't go right back into the fire. I'm sure when he was training, he was pushing himself as much as he could, and boom, happened to me when I had my bicep tear. I was training very hard, and you try to overdo it. You think you're 28 and you're really 38. That happens very frequently in an impact sport like boxing. So my opinion of it is it's a better fight. It's a better fight for Amazon. It's actually a blessing in disguise, because I think Tszyu would have blown Keith Thurman away. I don't think you can get into a position of a high-level fight like a Tszyu, not consistently. Activity is the best thing to do for a fighter. He has to be active, whether it's a stay busy fight or a big fight. The training camps is what's the toughest part. If you haven't been training this way for a long time, there's your problem. You're not training and getting that consistent pushback. When you try to push forward, something like this is going to happen. Hence what happened here with Keith Thurman. The Fundora, Sebastian just got KO'd by one of a common opponent Tszyu and him had. Mendoza knocked him out in probably the knockout of the year. But, I think he's looking at it. It was a mistake. He's trying to fix his mistakes that had happened in that fight. I believe he will learn from it. But here's the thing. Fundora is 6'5", 154 pounds. That's an advantage. Now, Tszyu, and he's also southpaw. Keith Thurman was very, very short. Small guy, one huge, about 5'8", I think, 154. A big height difference there. Very big height difference. So I think Tszyu's game plan has to change a little bit. Now, Fundora can punch. I'm not saying he can punch harder than Thurman, but he can punch. Plus the fact he's not going to be, moving around. He actually used his height to his disadvantage in a lot of fights. He's one of these guys like a Diego Corrales that could fight inside, and he's big and tall. Could be a disadvantage in this fight. He doesn't use his height the way he should. That's one of the knocks I have against Fundora. He really has a unique height for this division, and he doesn't use it as much. Still a great fighter, I think, for this position. A great choice for this position. I don't think they could have made a fight to put into this place this quickly if he wasn't fighting on the card. And I think that's what a lot of these promoters are doing now, having guys on these shows that if something drops out, they do have other people to put in there. It's very important for them to keep this show alive, because from what I'm understanding, the winner of this fight has 5 days to start and negotiate with Terrence Crawford. That was put out there. It was reported earlier this morning that would be the fight after that, which I thought Tszyu would fight Terrence Crawford anyway. This just adds a little more with the championship belts unified on this. The WBO is putting that mandatory in effect right after this fight. So that's what happened over the weekend. We saw King Callum. It was on Friday, actually, St. Patrick's Day weekend. King Callum Walsh just gets a victory, a very good victory for him. And I think he was I think he looked good. He looked good. I think the opponent wasn't the greatest in there, but I think they need to have Callum look good in a fight like this. And he's now progressing onto the next level here. Should be. I mean, he's been fighting 10 rounders for a while, so that's not the next step. I think the next step is really get into that top 15, closer to the top 10. He doesn't have many fights. He's only got 10 fights as a pro, 120 as an amateur. So I mean, they're going to kind of move him out a little bit for in the fast track there. When you got Dana White behind you and Tom Loeffler of 360 Promotions, you do have a lot of good backing there. Also, over the weekend, we saw some news being placed about the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. Still has yet to be decided what it's going to be. I know people are talking about why do we keep talking about this? It's not really a fight. It's an event. It will happen. That is what's going to happen here. There's nothing more than a money grab, I think, for future fights. I know people don't want to get the platform for it, but it is an event. It does have Mike Tyson as he is one of the most recognizable guys on this planet. That is why the news is important. I don't believe it'll be a fight. I believe it'll be an event, and I will believe it'll be over fairly quickly if in and out. This is going to be an in and out thing. There's going to be no more talk about this at all. My fight, April 27th, 2024, 6 p.m., Berwick High School. Sean McFadden comes to Berwick to try to knock me out and take home his victory to Scranton or Dunmore, Pennsylvania. That's really not really heating up. This week, we're starting to heat up some things with some guests. Coach Diz will be on shortly. This week, Percy Crawford will come on. George Dokovic, he'll be on as well. And Jim Lampley, either this week or next, probably next week, because we're going to get him ready for the Tszyu fight. He'll be calling that on ppv.com. So once again, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and go to ringside.com/podcast. Get 40% off selected brands. Until we see you next time, thanks for watching. And remember, don't be envious of what I've accomplished in my life. Be inspired by what you can do with yours. I will see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching the Zapata Brand Podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast and listen where all podcasts are available.